It's time for Your Journey, Your Questions. This is the time in the show when we answer questions from you. These are questions we received during our online Journey to Retirement workshop. So here's one of the latest questions we got is, what are the 3 phases of retirement? And Loren, I'm going to add a little side note here. The 3 phases of retirement, obviously something you talk about in the online Journey to Retirement workshop.
Yes, the person who asked this question must have been paying attention, because we do kind of hint at the 3 phases, but we don't go into extreme detail. But they picked up on the fact that there are actually 3 distinct phases in a retirement. The first phase is the phase that you're really thinking about probably 10 years, maybe even 20 years prior to retire. This is the go-go phase. This is when you're really excited, you still have motivation and energy, and you've been waiting for this time that now you have all this free time and you don't have to go to work. You can go chase the grandkids around, you can motorhome around the country, winter down south, all these things
Sounds
that
fun.
you've been thinking about doing, right? This is the glamorous part of retiring, the go-go years. But eventually, it's going to transition into the slow-go years, where you have a little bit less energy, maybe a little bit less motivation to travel around the country or the world, or maybe even less energy to get outside the house on a more frequent basis. So things just tend to slow down a little bit, and then eventually that'll transition into the no-go years, where you really don't want to do much of anything outside the house. It's going to cost you something a little bit different probably. And one way to think about the spend is in the go-go years, you're spending money on all the things that you want to do, right? All the travel and activities. In the no-go years, you're probably spending more money on the things that you have to spend money on, not the things that you want to spend money on. But the 3 distinct phases, if we're lucky, all of us will see those 3 distinct phases of retirement.
And this goes well with what we're talking about today, because I'm going to guess, Loren, that in each one of those phases, you may have to retool your retirement plan a little bit. And that includes meeting with your retirement planner to talk about that next phase.
Prime example of how people's thought process change as they go through the 3 distinct phases is the legacy plan. One of the pillars, one of the 6 pillars of a retirement plan is the legacy planning. During those go-go years, when you're doing all these activities and you're excited and on the move, most of you are not really thinking about the time that you're going to pass away and then how does everything transition, right? It should be a part of your plan, but that's not where most of your thoughts are. But when you get to the slow-go phase of your retirement and you're really confident about what it's going to take you on a month-to-month basis to do the things that you want to do, and you have enough reserves left over, right? Your confidence in your retirement really is probably at a high. Now you're starting to think of things like, do you give while you're alive? And certainly what happens to all of these different things when you do pass away. And the planning required for that phase of your life is substantially different than even the go-go years, where you're primarily focused on how do you get enough income from Social Security, maybe a pension, in your investable resources to do all the things you want to do.
And I have to think, Loren, that you can enjoy the go-go years a lot more if you know you have a plan to pay for the slow-go and no-go years.
Yeah, and that's why we address all of those really initially when you build your plan. So you have a written plan for all of those different phases of your retirement and the 6 pillars, but what your focus is how do you enjoy yourself in this free time that you now have.